Somebody can tell me that those terrorists that are attacking people cannot be located. Jide Otitoju, popular Nigerian broadcaster and multiple award-winning journalist Babajide Otitoju has claimed that the Nigerian government can be able to locate the bandits that have been terrorizing people if they are serious about ending the insecurity that has been confronting the country. It would be recalled that there has been multiple attacks across Nigeria by the terrorists in recent times. Just yesterday, there was reports that the terrorists were involved in fire exchanges with the Nigerian soldiers. A soldier is reported to have been killed. The Nigerian military on Friday also claimed that some of the terrorists that engaged the troops last night have been neutralized. Speaking during today's edition of Journalists Hangout on TVC, Babajide said the location of the terrorists can be traced. You can't tell me we don't know where these guys are hiding. We can trace and flush them out, Babajide Otitoju stated during the program today. I mean, of course we know that. I mean, I think if you start to think about how realistic and how possible it is to actually find these terrorists and these culprits, I mean, as a Nigerian, what would end up happening is that you end up so frustrated and very angry, and you're going to have to find something else during your day. I mean, something else during your day will distract you and frustrate you even more. So, thinking about how possible it is and thinking that, what, it's so possible, yet those that are in power have the capacity to, but you just see that they choose not to. Nothing is stopping them because they have the funds. They can borrow the funds and use the funds for irrelevant things that will not even yield or add anything to the economy. So when you see how much capacity, I mean, it's like, you have so much resources, and even if you can argue, maybe are there resources? No. You see the extent to which they go to justify borrowing huge sums of money, and then what they use it for is nothing to write home about. So yes, thinking about it is very, very frustrating. I don't think any Nigerian thinks that it is impossible or difficult for the Nigerian government to find these terrorists. It is not, and the thing is, we're just used to such low standards of leadership that as Nigerians don't even know what it's like to feel safe or have a competent government that can say for sure we have found these bandits or these terrorists or these culprits or these kidnappers or these gunmen or these herdsmen. I mean, so many, right? And then there's no one time Nigerians have heard the government say, we caught these men, we traced them, and we're locking them up. I mean, it's so bad that even the Kuje prison that was broken into and destroyed and, a lot of inmates were freed. I mean, Kuje prison is not just any prison, right? I mean, there's so many prisons in the country. There's so many locations where criminals are held, and Kuje is one of, it's in Abuja. We're talking higher ed criminals. We're talking, they're not basic, they stole in this block or they stole this in this block. No, we're talking proper criminals. And if that was broken into, the facility itself doesn't even look well invested into and security proof enough to keep those that are dangerous in there and also prevent any harm from outside coming in. So again, if Kuje prison was broken into that would keep such terrorists and such level of criminals and it was broken into, then there's no point at this point. You might as well just start crying. With the red flag were already there from the beginning when they were reintegrated back into society, Boko Haram in this case, and the term repentant started floating around and was associated with bandits and Boko Haram members, and you're like, with what? How is this happening? So the red flags have been there. So when, Kuje prison is not necessarily, it doesn't just happen over a day, all these attacks that have gotten this way, it doesn't happen. It started from the little attacks and no attention was paid enough to it. You look at NSAS. I don't even think with Nigeria there's a pattern. I just think there's just impunity no one takes responsibility, and whatever happens at a certain time that makes the news and is big enough to get everyone's attention, it just happens. Because I'm trying to make a logical chain and be like, you know what, it starts from the little. I mean, yes, it really does when you don't hold leaders accountable, but I mean, it's up and downs, right? I mean, this year it's NSAS, this year it's Kuje prison, this year it's school kids being kidnapped, this year it's churches being, attacked, and people being killed and injured. This time it is farmers. I mean, it's so many, right? And these are just the ones that get to the news. What are the ones that don't? I mean, there are just so many stories every single day. And it's, again, if you choose to focus on that as a Nigerian, you will probably lose your mind. I mean, with news everywhere in the world, it's the same thing. But then again, it's like, how do we create a system where we hold leaders accountable and Nigerians, are able to apply pressure, but also have a government that would respond? Because look at the NSAS. I mean, you can't say Nigerians did not do their best to apply pressure. They did. I mean, it was international news. They even banned Twitter, because Twitter was the platform in which, the news was being spread, and they banned it. Imagine. So it's now like, okay, fine. We actually need to get a government that would respond when we apply pressure, not try to take our rights away and kill us when we apply pressure and when we ask them to do the right thing. So yes, we've played our part, but then we now also know that, okay, fine, who we also put there is very important. We want them to respond, not necessarily react in a way where it's like, okay, let's take the control and the power that they have away from them. So it also depends on the culture of government. So yes, we might say, we need to hold them accountable, what the people do, but the government itself also matters. And yes, in this case, as Babajide just said, we know they are capable, but they choose not to. But now we have to put in and be conscious that we put in a government that knows that they are capable and they have the resources to, but they know that they owe it and they are obliged because it's their duty and they must do it. It's not a choice. It's not a favor. Because you got there, however you got there, the fact of the matter is you are serving the people. So if you feel entitled because you bought your ticket to whatever position that you need and you think that, what, I've gotten here, I can do what I like, that's not how it's meant to be. So I think Nigerians need to take that power back, and whoever is put into office, and I think we've got to be extreme and be like, what, listen, we need to establish whoever is put there, they need to understand that we put you there. Our vote brought you there, so you will do the work because we employed you. It's as simple as that. If you're going to have to be mean, if you're going to look entitled, we are, because that's what government is there to do, to serve the people, and that's why we put you there. So it might just be that Nigerians have to be harsh, and I think, with all due respect, we deserve to be harsh. We have to be harsh. I mean, we already are, but with the government, we're not harsh enough. But again, with elections, it's time to change things. We need to make sure that the powers are clearly defined. Yes, powers need to be clearly defined, especially the power of the people. It needs to be defined, and those in power need to understand the power that they have and the power of who they're serving. That's very important. Put what you think in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.